Hey, Peaceful Living Warriors. It's nice to see everybody. Today, we are going to be talking about the 5 love languages. Oh, I just realized I didn't plug in the microphone. Give me a second. It will not take that long. There. Now, hopefully, you'll be able to hear me better. So we're going to be talking about the 5 love languages. I love this book. Let me put it in the right place, by Dr. Gary Chapman. I came across this book many, many years ago, and it really helped my marriage a lot because when I first got married, I had no idea how to really assess, other than physical love, what my husband wanted. Sorry, I'm kind of a mess today. Or what my husband needed in terms of feeling loved and feeling fulfilled by our relationship. And I have known many people over the years that have turned to this book to help them deepen their intimacy with their romantic partners. And honestly, I think that some of this can also be applied to friendships. So if you've been following the vlogs and blogs all month, I have been talking about relationships, but I've been talking about them mostly in terms of building your support tribe. So yes, that can include your romantic partner, but I've gone beyond that to talk more about friendships and other people, professionals, coaches, therapists, pastors, spiritual leaders who can be part of your support tribe. But I cannot leave the month of Valentine's behind without talking about romantic relationships. And so that's why I wanted to do the love languages today. So Dr. Chapman, through years and years of counseling couples, found that people really had individual needs in terms of what they needed to feel fulfilled in their love relationships. And he narrowed it down to what he feels are the 5 primary love languages. And that is, I'm going to use my cheat sheet because I'm a little nervous that I'm going to forget. Normally I am okay with this stuff, but I'm not doing great today. So the first one is easy for me, actually. It's words of affirmation. That's my husband's love language. And then quality time. That's one of my love languages. Receiving gifts. Not something that's important to either my husband or myself, but I know friends who they're great gift givers, but they also really feel good when I give them gifts. So gifts are their love language. And acts of service, that's my number one. I'm a working mom, so help me around the house and you got my heart. And then finally is physical touch. So yeah, I did okay. I could have done it without the cheat sheet. But let me tell you a little bit about my experience with this. So back to when I first got married, acts of service were definitely my love language. I was feeling overwhelmed with just life. I was in grad school and trying to finish up a dissertation. And when we got married, we were silly and we thought that it would take a while to get pregnant. So we started trying about 6 months after we got married. And we thought, oh, it'll take at least 6 months, if not longer, because I was in my 30s. And all of our friends who had been trying, they'd been trying for a long time. Oh, no. I got pregnant right away. And I have my beautiful, amazing 14-year-old to show for that. But it was really hard on me because trying to be pregnant and then have a baby and finish a dissertation and teach classes and help my husband out at his brand new dental practice, it was crazy for me. Well, I knew that I needed acts of service. I needed help. But instead of using mindful communication to ask for that, I turned it around and I became the helper bunny in the house. I became the perfect little wifey. Now, he might actually say, no, not so much. But at least in my mind, I was doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, the childcare, because my husband had this brand new dental practice. And so I was trying to show him that I loved him by doing all this stuff around the house. And he was not responding to that at all. And I was really having a hard time. I was very hurt by the fact that he did not seem to notice that I was doing all of this wonderful stuff for him. Well, what I wasn't doing is fulfilling his love language. And his love language, it turns out, is words of affirmation. So I was spending so much time working and taking care of the baby and doing all the household stuff that I forgot to pay attention to him. Now, my husband is also an introvert, so he doesn't need a lot of quality time. That's not something that is really super important to him. In fact, he needs alone time, and I needed to be able to respect that. Well, quality time, right, is one of my love languages. Acts of service is at the top, quality time is next down. And my husband would come home from trying to build a brand new dental practice, and I will have been home with a baby all day, or maybe at the university and then having to rush to home. Actually, at that point, my parents were helping me take care of the baby. Having to rush home to relieve my parents because they were not happy about taking care of a baby all day long, but they were doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. So I wanted to spend time with my husband, but he needed to decompress and be alone. So that was hard. And we were really butting heads. First year of marriage, well, first and second. When I recognized that what he needed, what he needs, are words of affirmation, it made a huge difference to him. So I make sure 15 years later, 14 years later, I guess, to let him know how much I appreciate him. I give him encouragement about how great he is at his job. And he is. He's a great dentist. His patients call him the gentle giant because he's a big guy, but he's so gentle and calm, and he doesn't hurt people. And I make sure that his love tank is full of words of affirmation. And of course, physical touch. He's a guy, right? So there's that too. But sometimes I forget to use my mindful communication to let him know to fill my love tank with the acts of service and the quality time. And so when I start to feel resentful, I have to look in the mirror and say, uh-oh, did I remember to remind him about my love language? Because it may have been several years since we talked about it. So how is he supposed to remember? So, of course, I remember what his is because this is what I do for a living. He's working on teeth all day. He's not thinking about this stuff all day. So I have to use mindful communication to say, hey, you know what? I really appreciate it when you remember to do the dishes. I really appreciate it that you're taking the trash out every week and not forgetting. And I just love you so much that you're helping me in that way. So I'm using his words of affirmation while also reminding him. And I may have to say, honey, I've been noticing that you are taking out the trash barrels, and true story, not remembering to take out the trash in the house. And it just is so meaningful to me on a busy Tuesday if you can remember to take that bag out too. So again, words of affirmation, using the I statements or it's meaningful to me, the me statement, makes a big difference. So again, the love languages are about understanding what your partner needs in addition to communicating what your needs are, whether it is words of affirmation, quality time, gifts, acts of service, or physical touch. Now let's talk a little bit more about gifts and physical touch. So again, some people, they don't really care about gifts. Now we all have a certain need for the love language, all 5 love languages, and to a certain extent. But what is the primary? Well, if somebody was brought up not really receiving a lot of gifts and feeling their inner child and their inner child is feeling deprived because they didn't have a lot of birthday gifts, or maybe it's just their love language. Maybe they just like gifts. That's okay. So some people may be saying, well, you know, we're on a budget. I don't have a lot of money to spend on gifts. Gifts don't have to be expensive. It's nice if they are, if you have that kind of budget, But for people who gifts are their love language, it could be something as easy as bringing home a cupcake, bringing home a small bouquet of flowers from the grocery store. They're like $10. Trader Joe's, I think, has them for $4 if you have a Trader Joe's in your area. It could be something as small as a card. So it doesn't have to be big, grandiose. Hey, I bought you a Lexus. You know, those commercials during the holidays about a December to remember. I don't even know whose that is. It doesn't have to be a car. It can be something small but consistent. Do things on a consistent basis if your person's love language is gifts. And then finally, physical touch. Now, this is an interesting one because a lot of people interpret this as, oh, guys like sex. So we got to make sure we're filling their love language with lots of sex. Well, yes and no. This is where communication comes in again, because it could be that, yeah, your man loves sex and that makes a difference to him. But it also could be that he loves affection. If physical touch is somebody's love language, you need to find out what kind of touch. And same goes for women. If physical touch is your love language, but it's not always sexual, that's okay. Communicate that to your partner, that the affection, the little touch on the arm, the hug, the kiss on the forehead, or the kiss on the lips is what you really need on a daily basis. And then, of course, when you have lots of that, the sexuality can come after that because you feel so loved that, of course, when you're in a committed relationship, you want to express your love that way. Okay, so I promised you guys I would try to be more short and sweet with these videos. I went a little long last week, but I think that's it for now. For more information on this, you can check out the blog that I wrote. I give more examples of how the love languages work, and that is going to be sent out via my newsletter on Thursday, tomorrow. If you are interested in having my newsletter, which is just my blog, come to your inbox every week, just subscribe on peacefullivingwellness.com. And, oh, finally, little commercial. I have a wonderful, wonderful retreat coming up in Beaufort, South Carolina. So we are going to be doing a journey into mindfulness on private Fripp Island. And again, you can find out more about that on my website or my Facebook page, peacefullivingwellness.com, Peaceful Living Wellness. I have the flyer and all of the event information and the links you need on there. It's going to be magical. First weekend in May. All right, so good to see everyone, and don't forget, leave your comments. I know a lot of you are tuning in after the Facebook Live. You're watching these as already recorded videos, so I love your comments. Oh, and they're going up on Facebook, hopefully this week. Sorry, not Facebook. Wrong platform. They're going up on YouTube, hopefully this week. So look for Peaceful Living Wellness on YouTube, and you can watch all of these little Facebook Live snippets. All right. May the light within me honor and bless the light within you. Namaste.